She's noisy. These were the spacer pieces they had for the original axle on here. And they were ha-ha welded to the bottom of the rail. I got one cleaned up. Is it done? Hand it here. There. Now there's two cleaned up. Now I can paint it. Okay, these are done. Cleaned up, painted. All four of them. If you're wondering why the hole's offset, well, because that one I drilled, that one was already in the part. They don't need to be centered. These were spacers between the old axle mount and the old axle, between the frame and the axle originally. And they were ha-ha welded to the frame, so there's a couple spots like right there where the weld had to come off the side. It was two pieces. I made four. Worked out that way. And yes, it's a touch longer right there than it is here past the hole, because didn't need that. I just opted not to cut the 1/4 inch off that was there to make them even. You know, why make two cuts when you can make one? And really all I can do is about that much on this thing today, I think. I got a couple of truck wheels I'm gonna probably bring in and put on here just because I don't want to lift it up that high. That's a couple 22.5s that I can throw on here so we can roll it. Obviously need to get it bolted up first. Go from there. Get it all centered up. And I'll probably end up shoving some shim pieces in between the bolts and the axle. I don't know if you can see or not. These holes are 5 inches on the inside, and the axle itself is actually there's over 5 inches on the inside because there's a weld. Two-piece axle. Maybe you can see it over here. That weld right there sticks out. I don't want to grind that off. But I wanted to fit tight. So I don't know if I can get 3/16 or 1/4 inch shims wedged in there at the top. I might tack them to the axle itself. Help it a little bit more stability, since there's no saddles on the axle to give it more. And I guess that's about it for now. Number one's fiance showed up a little bit ago and finally got a tow to feed. It's been sitting here for him. And she's got to leave early because they've got critters going into the butcher today. And we did end up selling those 4-H kids one steer. Well, one from us and one from their 4-H leader. And they're supposed to come pick that steer up today. So, you know, all fun. And really, I should find a spot to throw those things before they get knocked off of there and kick somebody's foot off. Hydraulic motor there, it needs to get put somewhere besides here. That bucket of screws was supposed to go upstairs quite a while ago. I'm thinking she needs to split that up, put smaller buckets, make it more easily handled. And that's still all the stuff that came off this buggy, or a bunch of stuff. Mostly plumbing. Figure out what to do with some of that and get it out of the way. And the original wheel and tire off of this, the tire's shot. I've got another one the same size. It's already on a wheel with a smaller axle, different bearings. So I'll probably bring it in, and when we get the back end bolted up, raise the front end up and see if we can put it on. Of course, I do still have to make a axle for the skinny tire to put on front. I don't know that we'll run the skinnies any more than we have to. Get by with wide tires a lot of the time. But when it's too tall, you gotta go to the skinnies. If it gets too tall, you'll break it off instead of going over it. So anyway, that's too much talking on this subject. I do it, but I did it. I didn't see a zerk anywhere, so we put a zerk in it. And yes, you can drill them without getting crap in them. I use a vacuum when we're drilling. Hold the vacuum up tight, get everything, and when you get almost through, make sure the hole is clean. So you got the last couple little shavings you cut, and they should come out with the bit. Do the same thing when you tap it, and you hold the freaking vacuum on there for a minute when you're done. But I figured I better check this out. Get you a spot you can actually see. I mean, everything's tight, everything turns good, everything looks good. I scraped some crap out of here. Just, you know, what was up on the sides. It looks kind of fugly there, but it's going to clean up okay and get sealed. Clean top of the cap up and maybe smear some grease on it just so it doesn't rust anymore. But, yeah, we don't have any more. Well, we actually have 3 tubes of grease left. I got to get grease. So I was running around grabbing all the old guns that we don't use anymore that still had grease in them. There's I can tell I got two tubes of grease in there and nothing showing yet. And I don't know if you can see up here or not, but there's nothing coming out the bottom yet. I don't want it to. I'm just wondering how much more I'm going to put in there. But it's lunchtime. I'm going to have lunch. I'm tired. I haven't pumped that many hand grease guns in a long time. I think I just emptied 6 of them out that were half full to 3/4 full. I don't know, whatever it was. There's at least a couple of tubes in there and it ain't full yet. So fun. It's way after lunch now. Number 1 decided she had to leave early. She was going to leave early because they were going to, I think they got 3 animals to haul into slaughter today. Well, decided they were going to bump that up. I have been around, and I don't know how many old grease guns we have that were, you know, 1/4 to 3/4 full, laying around we haven't used in years. They've all been emptied into here so far. And this is the first full tube in this one. I got about half tube left. And I had a half a tube on the 20 volt one earlier. And I still have nothing showing yet. This is really getting old. So I'm really hoping it's going to show, if not before this tube's empty, at least show when it gets empty. Because I don't plan on filling the top clear full. Gotta leave a little air gap, right? You know, I'd just like to see some kind of, like between those 2 rollers, or somewhere, at least see something squishing out, but there's nothing yet. I'm getting tired of holding it. All these stinky boys. Isn't too bad in here today. Just kind of smell a little bit, just enough you notice it. Little square head there, he got his ears unhidden. That's the one that got dehorned. That happens once in a while. Dogs are all finally out here. They were all locked up when people come pick that steer up earlier. And then had Bottle Boy tied up with him over here so they could load him out easier. Make him calm down a little bit on a halter since he'd never been on one before. And Mom wasn't going to be able to lead Bottle Boy back over to the other steers, so he's in here somewhere. I didn't happen to see him when I fed these girls. But somewhere in here, there's one with a sack. I really don't know where. One in the middle of the screen kind of looks like him from the back, but I can't tell if there's a sack there or not. I don't care. He's in here. He ain't gonna do nothing. Oh well, my day's done. Enough. I got that front end back together and found out one of the bolts was, threads were stripped on it enough that it couldn't get a grip anymore. Grabbed a longer one and it wouldn't go in. Screwed around and finally found one about the same length. Threads were still fine in the hub. They just weren't fine on the bolt anymore. But the dogs were locked up with it. Look out, Red. Stand over the top of his food dish and wonder why he didn't get any food. Whiskey does the same thing. Let's see how far he can move his dish. Whiskey doesn't need too much. He'll go up later. He'll enjoy dinner with his sister up in the garage when Grandma feeds. So hey, hope you all had a nice Sunday. Figured I'd show you some critters since I had to feed them. I still got to climb up and throw some hay in for these girls, but I'll let them eat at least most of their grain first. Then do that. Cow in here's a pain in the ass. She's just working her way down, pushing everybody out, taking a mouthful. She's always been kind of a pig anyway. That's why she's still in good shape. Oh well, that'd be the end of it for today. So thanks for watching. Hope you've all had a good weekend, and let's hope for a good week.